everyone, welcome to Wednesday of week 2. How are you all feeling? Yeah, me too. Okay, well today we're going to continue with Unit 8, but we're going to start with something a bit different. So you need a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil. Okay, very simple. I am going to read 4 sentences from emails that you have sent me since we've been in lockdown. Easy peasy, all you have to do is listen and write exactly the sentence that I tell you. Okay? So, number 1. If you have a problem to check them, email me. If you have a problem to check them, email me. Number 2. Do I have to give you by email the exercises of pages 91 and 92? I'll say that again. Do I have to give you by email the exercises of pages 91 and 92? Number 3. I prefer to watch the full video. I prefer to watch the full video. And number 4, I'm really bored in my house. I'm really bored in my house. Okay, now take that piece of paper, put it to the side, because we're going to come back to it a bit later. All right? So now, take your books, and we're going to have a look at some grammar on page 96. Okay? Looking at the Explore Grammar for reported speech. Okay, now hopefully you can see this okay. So if we start with the first one, when we report statements, alright? Now we've been through this a lot in the last few years, so this should just be revision. So the first sentence here is, "It's time to test these opinions," said American psychologist John Protzko. When we report statements, the verb goes back 1 tense. Here, what's the tense? The present, perfect. So, in reported speech, it goes back to the past. Okay, so look at the second sentence. An American psychologist, John Protzko, said it is or it was. Good. It was time to test these opinions. We use was because the verb moves back 1 tense. This is for normal reported speech, just normal statements. Now questions are a little bit different. Okay, so if we look at the first question, do the results show greater self-control? Some people said. Remember, when we have questions with do, for example, the answer is yes or no. For yes or no questions in reported speech, some people asked if the test results really greater self-control. Now remember, we use if because it's a yes or no question, but we still need to move the verb into the past. So what do we put here? Good. Showed. Fairly simple. Right, what about questions like this? What will I learn from the exercise? He asked 260 experts. This sentence is not a yes or no question. It has a specific answer. We call these the WH questions. All right? With these ones, how do we introduce the question? He asked 260 experts what he would learn from the exercise. We use what because that's the question word in the normal speech, and we use would because it's will 1/10 back. Okay, fairly simple. Remember, questions in reported speech don't take a question formation. With the yes or no questions, if, subject, and verb. With the WH questions, we use the question word, subject, and verb. Okay, so we don't invert the subject and the verb because it's not a real question, it's a reported question. Also, don't forget the pronouns. Okay, first and second become third person. All right, look at the example. Sugar is bad for you, parents told their children. Parents told their children that sugar was bad for them. Excellent. So remember to think about the sense of the question because the pronouns need to change. All right? If you have any other questions about reported speech or you're not sure about any of it, if you look at page 140 in your book, it has a grammar explanation. Okay? So let's move on to exercise 2. All right? Here, you're going to listen to 8 different people talking, okay? They are reporting statements, all right? So, very simple. Listen to the 8 students, and can you match 4 of the students with the questions A, B, C, and D? So listen to the students reporting statements and questions, and match 4 of the students to A, B, C, and D. A is, can I borrow a pen? B, what time are you going to arrive in the village? C, can you drop me into town? And D, can I borrow your phone charger? Okay, so listen and match 4 of the 8 speakers with the correct letter.
Speaker 1.
This morning I asked my brother if I could borrow his phone charger.
Speaker 2.
The last person I spoke to was my drama teacher, and she told me to learn my lines.
Speaker 3.
The last time I asked a question is when I asked my friend if I could borrow a pen.
Speaker 4.
I last asked a question to my mum. I asked her if she could drop me into town.
Speaker 5.
The last person I spoke to was my dad, and he said, have a good day at dance rehearsals.
Speaker 6.
The last time I asked someone a question was yesterday when I asked my uncle what time he was going to arrive in my village.
Speaker 7.
The last person I spoke to was my mum, and she said, don't forget your school bag.
Speaker 4.
I last spoke to my dad, and he said, have a fun day.
Speaker 8.
I last spoke to my sister. She told me to get out of her bedroom.
Speaker 6.
The last person I spoke to was my cousin, and she said she was going to leave at 2 o'clock to come and see my family.
Okay, easy peasy, right? So let's go through the answers then. A, can I borrow a pen, was speaker 3, excellent. B, what time are you going to arrive in the village, was speaker 6. C, can you drop me into town, is speaker 4. And finally D, can I borrow your phone charger, was speaker 1. Alright, nice and simple. Now if you have a look at exercise 3, okay, you'll see 5 of the reported statements or questions, but with parts missing. So first, can you complete the 5 sentences with the missing information, and then we'll listen and check your answers. Okay, so this is the time to pause the video, and when you finish, press play and we'll listen to check your answers. Okay, so pause now. Right, let's listen again and check the answers that you have. Okay?
Speaker 1.
This morning I asked my brother if I could borrow his phone charger.
Speaker 2.
The last person I spoke to was my drama teacher, and she told me to learn my lines.
Speaker 3.
The last time I asked a question is when I asked my friend if I could borrow a pen.
Speaker 4.
I last asked a question to my mum. I asked her if she could drop me into town.
Speaker 5.
The last person I spoke to was my dad, and he said, have a good day at dance rehearsals.
Speaker 6.
The last time I asked someone a question was yesterday when I asked my uncle what time he was going to arrive in my village.
Speaker 7.
The last person I spoke to was my mum, and she said don't forget your school bag.
Speaker 4.
I last spoke to my dad, and he said, have a fun day.
Speaker 8.
I last spoke to my sister. She told me to get out of her bedroom.
Speaker 6.
The last person I spoke to was my cousin, and she said she was going to leave at 2 o'clock to come and see my family.
Okay. Did you get everything correct? I hope so. Let's just go through the 5 sentences again to make sure you heard correctly. So number 1, this morning I asked my brother if I could borrow his phone charger. Number 2, the last time I asked a question was when I asked my friend if I could borrow a pen. Number 3, I last asked a question to my mum. I asked her if she could drop me into town. Number 4, the last time I asked someone a question was yesterday, when I asked my uncle what time he was going to arrive in my village. And finally, number 5, the last person I spoke to was my cousin, and she said she was going to leave at 2 o'clock to come and see my family. Okay? No problems at all? Of course not. Okay, so now we're going to have a look at exercise 4. Okay? Martin has introduced friends from his drama group to his house after school. Now, I don't know why, but Martin doesn't answer the phone. So his friends had to leave messages for him. Here we have his 6 friends and the 6 messages. Very simple. Can you rewrite the messages into reported speech? Okay. We'll look at number 1 together. Jane. What did she say? I can come after 8 o'clock. How do we put this into reported speech? What do you think? Good. Jane said that she could come after 8 o'clock. Remember, the verbs need to go back 1 tense. Okay? Present past, past perfect. For example, will, would, can, could. Okay? Don't forget to change the pronouns. Again, this is your chance to press pause, do the exercise, and then come back for the answers. Okay? So press pause now. All right, how did everybody do? No problems? Good. So now we are going to listen and check your answers. Okay? Let's have a look. Oh, I'm on the wrong exercise. 1 second. Listen and check your answers.
Okay, So, who's coming?
Well, Jane said she could come after 8 o'clock.
That's a bit late. What about Ed?
Ed said he would bring some snacks.
Great. And Chris?
Chris said he couldn't come because he was sick.
Oh dear. Is Melanie coming?
Yes, Melanie said she loved rehearsing after school.
She always does. How about Simon?
Simon said he was going to be late. He said he hadn't left the house yet.
He'll get here. Okay, so the last one is Lizzie.
Lizzie said that she really wanted to try on the new costumes.
Great.
Okay, did you get everything correct? I'm sure you did. Remember, for Chris and for Simon, there were two verbs that needed changing to the past. So Chris said he couldn't come because he was sick. And Simon said he was going to be late. He said he hadn't left the house yet. Okay, so make sure if there's two verbs, both of them move back. All right, any questions? Good. So let's move on then to exercise 6. Here we have a post from Fatima. So first, listen while I read the post. Hi guys, can anyone help me? Does anyone know about the Denver Film Academy? Is it near the school? What are the teachers like? What time does the group meet? And finally, what are the short films like? Are they any good? Thank you so much. Now, Fatima has written a lot of questions, all right? So remember, questions which are yes or no questions, she asked if, subject and verb. For WH questions, she asked what question word, subject and verb. All right? So I'd like you again to rewrite these questions into reported speech, okay? Pause your video now. And we're back. So, how did we do with the questions? Yes, no problems? Let's have a look at the first one then. Can anyone help me? She asked if anyone could help her. Did you remember to change the pronoun? Good, well done. Does anyone know about the Denver Film Academy? She asked if anyone knew about the Denver Film Academy. The next one, is it near the school? She asked if it was near the school. What are the teachers like? She asked what the teachers were like. What time does the group meet? She asked what time the group met. What are the short films like? She asked what the short films were like. And finally, are they any good? She asked if they were any good. Fairly simple, no problems? Of course. So, your homework, number 1, remember those sentences I dictated to you at the start of the class? Yes, I'd like you to rewrite them in reported speech and email them to me. Okay? But now we're going to move on to page 97, okay, which is all about hobbies. All right, do you have a favourite hobby? For me, I love watching football, I love playing with my kids most of the time, and I love reading, I love listening to music, all sorts of things. Okay, so if you look at exercise 1, numbers 1 to 9 are some comments about activities, and A to I are the activities. Easy peasy, can you match the comments with the correct activity? All right, pause the video and then come back. Right, how did you do then? So, the very first one, I get together with my friends at weekends and we build and paint whole sci-fi battle scenes. What did you get? F, making models, perfect. Number 2, I practice with a band on Friday evenings. H. Practicing a musical instrument. Number 3. I often play against my cousins, but my Wi-Fi's poor at the moment. This one is, of course, G. Online gaming. Number 4. My favourites are nature scenes, particularly wildlife. Did you get it correct? I. Taking photos. Number 5 then, I'm really into kickboxing. It's a fun way to exercise. Is of course D. Keeping fit. Number 6. I make rings and necklaces with plastic, which is E. Making jewellery. Number 7. This year we're doing a musical. You can join in if you want. Is C. Doing drama, theatre. Number 8. I have over 5,000 trading cards, and some of them date back to the 1990s. This is A. Collecting things, and he's collecting certain cards. And finally, number 9. My speciality is cookies. I just love the smell while they're in the oven. This one, of course, is B. Cooking. Ugh, hate cooking. Okay, fairly simple. Good. So now, have a look at exercise 3. Alright, here we have some vocabulary relating to specific hobbies and activities. So we have battery, glue, ingredients, paintbrush, recipe, and zoom lens. Alright, and here we have the definitions of each of these vocabulary words. Easy peasy, can you match the vocabulary with its meaning? Alright, pause the video and do it now. Okay, what do we get then? So, number 1, a long thin brush that you use to add colour to something is a paintbrush. Good one. Number 2, things that you use to make a particular type of food are ingredients. Good. Number 3, an object that provides power for a machine or piece of equipment is a battery. Excellent. A piece of curved glass or plastic that makes things look bigger. A zoom lens. Perfect. Instructions for how to cook something. Recipe. Excellent. And finally, number 6, something that you use to join things together is glue, of course. Alright? So now for exercise 4, you don't need to pause the video. I'm going to give you 15 seconds to put the vocabulary with the correct hobby. Does the vocabulary refer to cooking, photography, or making models? There's 2 for each activity. Are you ready? 15 seconds. Go. Stop. I bet that was super easy. So first of all, for cooking, we have here recipes and ingredients. Very good. For photography, zoom lens and battery. And finally, for making models, glue and paintbrush. Perfect. All right. Now, when you're talking about hobbies and interests, it's usually something you talk about with your friends. So we want to use some informal language. And it's also pretty boring to always say, I like. Ugh. Okay? So if you look at the explore language, we have some different vocabulary we can use to talk about our hobbies. The first one is to be into something. Okay? If you're into something, it means it's your hobby, you really like it. I'm into football and music. The next one is to be mad about. Remember, after prepositions, we use a noun or ing. So, I am mad about football. It's my favourite thing. I love it. Okay? So, to be mad about is more than be into. Chill out obviously means to relax. Are you chilling out much at the moment, or are you a bit stressed being at home? Hang out with, unfortunately, is something you can't do at the moment. You can't hang out with your friends, but hopefully soon you can. And finally, to join in is to participate in something. Okay, so what can you join in with at the moment? There's lots of things online while we're in lockdown. Maybe you could join in with something. You're joining in with this class, and that's brilliant. Okay? So, final thing for today's class is to look at the exam task in exercise 5. Alright? Here we have a text. The text has 6 spaces, and for each space, there are 4 options. Can you choose the correct option for each space? This time you need to hit pause, do the exam task, and then come back for the answers. Okay? So, good luck. Hit pause now. Right, let's see how you did then. So, I'm going to read the hobbyist text with the correct answers. Alright? The hobbyist. Are you looking for a new hobby? Or do you just want to hang out with friends who have the same interests? Perhaps you like collecting old comics, or you're into designing your own jewellery. We've got something for everyone at the hobbyist. This month, Kylie Rigg is going to write on our blog. Kylie's mad about building models, and she's going to share her designs for some cool 3D models of animals. Why don't you join in the fun? All you need is some cardboard and a few paints. What are you waiting for? All correct? Good. So, your second homework, you actually have 2 options. But I want you to tell me about your favourite hobby and try to use some vocabulary specific to the hobby and some of these new expressions to talk about your hobbies and interests. Okay? Now, I don't mind if you want to write a paragraph, or if you prefer, you can video yourself and send it to me. Okay? I'm having to video myself. Now it's your turn. Okay? I promise I'm the only person who will look at them. Alright? So that's 2 lots of homework for today. The first, the sentences that I dictated to you to put in reported speech. And the second, tell me a little bit about a hobby. Alright? Either a paragraph written down, or video yourself, or just do the audio. Okay? And that's it for this week. See you next week, guys. Bye!